Are you guys looking for Strange New World or what, huh? Oh my God. Okay, I've been told that we have a very tight leash here because some of our guests actually have to catch flights. So we've got to get going right away. In no particular order, I'm going to start bringing them out. Please welcome Mr. Anson Mount. You guys look fabulous. Aren't they gorgeous? What a fine-looking cast. All right, we're under very, very tight time constraints. I want the audience to have a chance to get it.
You need a mic?
Let's get another mic up to Ethan, please. Okay, I've only got about 5 minutes per person. So Anson, I'm going to get started with you. So great to finally get a chance to talk with you. Did you look at all to Jeffrey Hunter's portrayal when you approached the character, or did you decide to just completely push it aside and just go in blank?
I'm a big believer in stealing. So I try to watch as many performances as I can, especially when I'm doing theater. This one, I went back and I watched The Cage and The Menagerie, but no, I mean, for me, it's a Pike in a completely different part of his life. So I didn't really take much from what Jeffrey did. He nailed the first act Pike, I don't know the second act.
I mean, first of all, The Cage and The Menagerie were an epic construct of the story. So that's an incredible kind of a starting point. But I mean, you definitely have your own vibe as him, but I think that so much of us had that legacy in our minds. So when you guys finally turned up on Discovery, we were so happy about it. How did it feel to kind of segue in on Discovery?
Onto Discovery?
Yeah.
Scared shitless. I didn't even know the role I was auditioning for. And then when they told me, I about dropped a brick, and because I knew it was a big responsibility. But the cast was completely welcoming, especially Sonequa, and helped me with all the technical stuff that you have to know doing track. So it was pretty smooth in that regard, but it is weird coming into the thing that you're the new guy. And I don't know, I just trusted the writers and my instincts, and I just went for it.
You guys were naturals. It was an amazing seeing you. Now, did you know at that point that you were going to go to series? Or?
No. We did notice that they were spending a lot of money on Enterprise, Rich. So we're like, hey, is this a thing? Is this a big thing? And then when they were getting ready they wanted us to do the shorts, and I had to call Alex about a question. I can't even remember what it was. But he's like, that's a good thought, we call you back. And he called me back like in 2 days. And he said, so I think we got a show. I was like, really? And he said, yeah, I think we're gonna do a show. And so they had just on a soft pitch, CBS bought the concept and then ordered a script. And then it was like a year goes by and they haven't wrapped us up in contracts. And so I'm starting to think this isn't going to happen. This is going to go away. Fortunately or unfortunately, the pandemic kept us out of other jobs. And so we were able to do it.
I mean, it's amazing. I know we're so short on time, but how does it feel to be a Star Trek captain? It's such an iconic role to play, and you definitely carved out a brilliant place for yourself. But I mean, doesn't that have a kind of special feeling being a Star Trek captain?
Yeah, people are probably going to get tired of me saying this because I've said it 1,000 times, but to put everything in context, Star Trek was my make-believe game when I was a kid. Right? And to look around and realize that I'm still doing that is so completely surreal, and it makes me feel so fortunate to be an actor in a way that I never have felt that before. Because every day, I'm like, wow, I'm on Star Trek. And I'm not just on Star Trek,
It's so awesome having you. It's crazy. We're so short on time. Just tell me though, how did you feel reprising your role as Black Bolt in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness? It was so great to see you again. Listen, I love Jack Kirby. And I love the Inhumans, so it was great to see you again.
Thank you. It was not an expected call. I guess when Kevin Feige calls you, it's never an expected call. But yeah, he called me and said, "Hey, you know, I've got this idea about the Illuminati, and we were going to do this one way, and I don't think it's going to work. So we're going to do what we're going to do for real, and we'd like to keep you on as Black Bolt. Pay you really well to come and play. To come in wires for a couple of weeks." And I was like, wow, okay, sold. Yeah, it felt really great to be able to go back at it and to work with Sam Raimi, which had been on my bucket list for a long time.
Yeah, Sam was awesome. He's fantastic. All right, well, thank you so much. Let's hear it for Anson, everybody. Thank you so much, Anson. I appreciate it. We move on to Rebecca. So great to meet you finally. How do you see yourself in the context of Majel and Barrett Roddenberry's performance of number one? Did you use her as any kind of an inspiration? I mean, it seems like a pretty much a different character, but she had originated that role, so did you look to her for any kind of inspiration? Or?
Well, of course, it starts with Majel, but there was really only, I think, a total of 13 minutes of screen time for number one. And Majel was, I mean, in that episode, she was really just, we only saw her performing the tasks at hand. She wasn't a fleshed out character, and the opportunity to find the layers within that character has just been incredible. And so, yeah, I took whatever I could from her performance to infuse, but moving forward, you know, we take our own artistic liberties and expand.
And then you've carved out an amazing role for yourself. Now, Una Chin Riley, we have discovered, is genetically enhanced. And I seem to be seeing a lot of tie-in to the genetics war that has been talked about in Star Trek canon or hinted at for many years. So do you, without giving too much away, do you know how you might be tying into that mythology?
Without revealing anything from season 2, I don't know how I can really speak to that.
But something is going to involve you in that whole business of the fact that
it will be expanded upon within the second season, yes.
Genetic modification being outlawed. And
yes. And it's also what's really strange about it, and I shouldn't probably say this, but I kept going back to when I played Mystique, who was a mutant. Like, it's sort of connected. Like, I had little bits of dialogue in season 2 that were literally word for word things that I've said in the X-Men series. I was like, I've said this before. But they're related, you know? I mean, they're two characters that I related them.
I mean, as long as you're talking about Mystique, how many people love Mystique? I mean, it's such a great character. She's so iconic. in addition to the fact that she's just an incredible character, her look was so unbelievable. What was
We're going back to Mystique right now?
Yeah, what was that makeup process?
It was a 9-hour makeup process. 9 hours every
Yeah.
day. I would go in at midnight to be ready for a 9 a.m. call time. And it would be 2.5 hours to take it off. So I would work for 24 hours straight. And then they would have to give me 24 hours off in between to let my skin breathe. Because my whole body was covered in prosthetics and there was nowhere for the sweat to go. So I would get blisters. It was crazy. But worth it, because it was the most beautiful costume I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, and what a great character. I mean, you were fantastic. We
I
loved you.
regret nothing. It was really an honor.
What was it like working with Brian De Palma on Femme Fatale?
Man, he's such a visionary. There was a lot of rehearsal time because he's got every frame of his films in his head before he even starts rolling. It's just, he sees everything. And I was a fan of his growing up, and to get to work with him was a real honor. It was a special experience.
He's a genius. The guy's a genius.
He's a genius.
Yeah, I know. You were very blessed to get that
Thank
role. And finally, last but not least, I believe you have a new TV series, The Real Love Boat, with none other than Jerry O'Connell.
That's right. Premieres October 5th on CBS.
So excited about that. Can you set that up for us?
We just got back, actually. It's, the original Love Boat, which was, I don't know how many people here remember the original Love Boat.
We love it.
It was all about people looking for a second chance at love, people who had their hearts broken, and they had spectacular guest star Charo. Remember? Anyway, The Real Love Boat is a reality dating adventure show.
Which we love.
Will be on between Survivor and The Amazing Race, and we shot on a princess cruise ship in the Mediterranean for 21 days. It's a typical, there's an elimination ceremony, it's singles looking to mingle, but they gave them incredible challenges, and Jerry and I had a really good time doing it. It was fun.
It's
Yeah.
so much fun. And
we actually, I shouldn't say this, but we just recorded the theme song the other night. The theme song to The Love Boat.
I mean, the thing we love about reality shows is watching people behave poorly. I actually think that's got a lot to do with it. So hopefully there'll be a lot of mischief and people acting out.
Let's hope. We witnessed some things.
We're looking forward to it very much. Let's have a great hand for Rebecca, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us. Next up we have Mr. Ethan Peck. Ethan, welcome.
Hello.
Before we get into talking about Spock, just a couple of things from your past. First of all, you went to Tisch School of the Arts. That's an amazing school. I just wanted to hear a little bit about your experience there and working on experimental theater.
Oh wow, that's a great question that has not been asked of me before. It was incredible. I mean, being in New York City is an education in itself, and I think that's really what you're paying for, because being in New York is not inexpensive.
It's a top-of-the-line school. Tisch is like as good as it gets.
Yeah, and interestingly, the year I went, it had this explosion in popularity. So I went to a really wonderful high school in Los Angeles, and like 50 kids from my class went, and that was unlike any year prior. So it was exciting to be a part of that. A lot of them went to Tisch, and I see people from Tisch. I was just at San Diego Comic-Con, and I run into my classmates there, and it's such a thrill to see my friends doing well, to be doing well. And we just kind of like laugh and tear up and hug, and are very excited for each other.
I mean, it's such an amazing background to have something like that, all the chops that you learn from that.
It is. And Experimental Theater Wing is kind of unique to NYU. And it's funny, in the application process, people normally don't want to choose it because it has all these strange sort of reputations, like, oh, you have to get naked in that studio, which wasn't true. People do, but it's not like a requirement, obviously. And it was really the beginning of me getting to know myself in a very deep and profound way that I think I need to in order to do my work. So it was the beginning of a very long journey for me that continues and has led me here and all that, so I'm grateful for it.
For sure. I also found it fascinating that you were a spokesperson for Salvatore Ferragamo. What was that all about?
Yeah.
That sounds like fun to me.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I don't know that I would call myself a spokesperson. I called it like I was like fashion presenting. Like I would wear it and then here it is, you know.
You get to keep any of that stuff?
To keep it?
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Still have it,
Are
yeah.
you a male supermodel?
Sensational.
Are you a female supermodel? In fact, you are. I am not.
Yeah, we didn't even have time to talk about Rebecca's modeling career. Okay, so how did you get the role of Spock? How did that come about?
So I got an audition for a codenamed project for the role of Tom, the Andorian, and I had no idea what it was. I made a tape, I went in for a callback, I got called back a third time, and by that point I knew what the character was a few days before probably, and was like, no way, this is insane and I'm gonna mess this up. And it turned out that I was the only, I think, actor called back for that final round. So no one else knew. It was really, really crazy. It's surprising when I got it. It's scary because it's an incredible, beautiful burden, but a burden nonetheless. So.
I mean, how does it, I mean, he is one of the deepest cores of the zeitgeist. How does it feel to be Spock? Do you grok Spock? He's Spock. He's an iconic character. Do you feel the weight of it?
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, you do such a great job, too. We love you. Such a good job. I mean, how does it feel? How does it feel to be Spock?
Thank you so much. It's like, ask me that in like 10 years. I don't know. Right now it's this thing that's kind of difficult to integrate to my reality. I'm just kind of experiencing it and having the experiences that are written for me on set, and I'm really incredibly grateful for it. And yeah, I pinch myself. I'm living the dream. It's the adventure of a lifetime.
I sincerely wish that our beloved Leonard Nimoy was alive. We miss Leonard desperately. He was a fixture at our shows for decades. We adored him. He was a brilliant guy, and he would have loved your work. So,
Thank you very much.
I'm really sorry that you two never got a chance to connect.
Sorry.
All right, well, thank you very much. Let's hear it for Ethan. Thanks, Ethan. Great having you here, brother. Great having you here. Miss Celia Rose Gooden. All right, so I got to move really fast. Celia, I'm a music theater maven.
Yeah.
Music theater is my life. I love it. Your mom, LaChance, she is an unbelievable. Her mom won the Tony for Color Purple as STLV.
6 years old.
Unbelievable. So you come from a theater dynasty, really, is what you do.
Yeah.
And you have a sister that you've worked with too. Now, is it something that we could talk about a little bit about Jagged Little Pill? Because I don't think it's ended well for you, but it started out incredibly. So tell us just a little bit about how that developed and any comments about Diablo Cody while you're at it.
I mean, she's an incredible writer. There's a reason why she won that Tony. She's a genius. I started working on that show when I was a junior in high school. I took a day off to go to my junior prom, and it just kept going. We kept doing more workshops, and they kept asking me to be a part of it, and I was honored and flabbergasted that I could actually like skip school and go work, which was so sick. But yeah, senior year, we did the out-of-town tryout at ART, and then it went to Broadway, and then the pandemic happened, and now I'm here.
I mean, it's such a great journey for you. You also had some amazing training. You trained with Alvin Ailey Institute, which is unbelievable. How was that experience?
It was, it feels like forever ago. I was there for 10 years, but when I was like 3 to 13, so I got out of there right before it went super legit and technical. And it taught me a lot about how to carry myself and just like how to take up space in a room. And I think that dance training, for a myriad of reasons, has helped me so much with Uhura. Just because Michelle is a dancer, and you can see it in her posture, how she sits and how she reaches for stuff. It's very much what a dancer does. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that training.
All right, fast forward to how you got cast as Uhura. How did that all come about?
That's a fantastic question. Sometimes I don't even know how it happened, but how it literally happened. I got a call from my agent. They're like, hey, there's this codename Star Trek show, and they want you to audition for this girl named Yaboa. She's a young communications officer, and I was like, okay. But I come from a family of Trekkies, so when I told my mom, I was like, hey, I know you love Trek, I'm auditioning for this Trek thing. And she was like, what Trek thing? Who are you playing? I was like, some girl named Yaboa. She was like, I haven't heard of a Yaboa. I was like, okay. And I auditioned, got a call back, and I found out that I booked it, and I still understood that I was going to be playing Yaboa. And I was on my way to a fitting, and the casting director called me and was like, hey, I don't know if anyone's told you yet, but Yaboa's not real. You've been punked. You're playing a young Uhura.
Oh my God, what a revelation that is, huh?
It's wild. Yeah, it's a crazy story. And I screamed so loud. I was in an Uber, and I screamed so loud that he like shuttered the car. I was like, are you fine? I was like, I just got the greatest news of my life. And yeah, it's been crazy, crazy wheels up ever since.
Well, you were so wonderful all season, but I think we all feel the spirit of Michelle Nichols hanging over this room right at this moment.
And
right?
we're so lucky
How
to
much
have
we
her.
love Michelle. Did you get a chance to meet her and hang out with her?
I didn't, which is something that I am making my peace with. But I am very much a spiritual person, and I know without the shadow of a doubt that we are so incredibly connected, and I feel her presence everywhere, which is, it's a gift. I mean, anyone who had an opportunity to meet Michelle knows how warm and loving and just, she gave so much of herself to this franchise, and I mean, I'm just happy to be like a fraction of her legacy, because she's an incredible woman.
We couldn't agree more. Let's hear it for Celia, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us. Next, we've got Melissa. Let's have a nice hand for Melissa. Welcome, Melissa. Welcome to the club. So great. We're going to obviously talk about our take in a minute, but I am particularly interested in off-Broadway work that you've done. Some of you may know about Bundle of Sticks. This is a pretty important work, and you played a pretty remarkable character, Francisco. Can you tell us a little bit about Bundle of Sticks and the importance of Francisco and the importance of the work?
Sure. Nobody has asked me that in a while, so thank you. So I'm kind of a weird New York City actor, and then I chose not to do a lot of theater work, specifically because I wanted to make it in the TV film world. I think I've done that a little bit. But right before like the end of 2019, so nobody saw the pandemic coming, I got this audition. I was casting brought me in for this role of Francisco, who was a male character in his 40s, Latino. And my manager rather, in Los Angeles, like flipped. He was just like, what? He's like, you're doing a play, you're playing Francisco in his 40s, like, have you lost your mind? And I was like, no, I'm going to lose my mind if I don't book something. And I loved the play and the script. And essentially it was like almost like magical realism. We ended up performing it in February and March of 2020, and so we shut down when the rest of Broadway shut down because of the pandemic, but I was so grateful that I chose to audition and I got the role. And it's The playwright is actually, he went to my high school on Long Island, and he's a queer playwright, and he wrote this story based on like his own experiences and basically telling the horror story that is gender conversion, but telling it in a way that just kind of talked about the different layers of that and used, you know, the elements of drama, tragedy, comedy, and used an all-female and non-binary cast in order to do it. And so it's one of those things that you can't really fully explain unless you really see it. But it was beautiful, it was heartbreaking, and it was one of the most transformative roles of my life. And then came along Ortega, so I really feel that they're connected. And thank you for asking me about that.
Does it exist on video anywhere? I'm dying to see it.
I heard nothing of what you just said. One more time, sorry.
Does it exist on video anywhere? I'm dying to see it.
I don't believe it does, but I'm very hopeful that we can stage it again. Because again, we shut down what Broadway did, and it was when the pandemic like really hit and everything happened. Like my world was Buffalo Sticks, and it was Francisco, and it just holds a super special place in my heart. So if it doesn't exist on video, I hope to reprise the role, and I hope to get it out to more people.
Right on. Okay, so shout out Westbury, Freeport.
Oh, nice, Westbury.
Anyway, so all right, tell us about how you got the role of Ortegas and how that all came about.
Sure. So it was. I think I've told this to anyone who's asked me, but this is a dream role to play the helmsman of the USS Enterprise. I mean, it just doesn't get.
It doesn't get better than being the helmsman.
I mean, it's just I've also said this a bunch, but this is like my Galaxy Quest moment. What's happening right now? So I'm having an out-of-body experience. Yeah, no. So essentially, I got the Ortegas was one of the characters that made her name was her name, and the breakdown was, you know, she's Latinx, Latina, and she's a soldier, she's a pilot, and she can, you know, she's funny, and she can also beat you up. And I'm like, I feel like that's me. And so it was one scene, and it was what? No, my callback was the scene from episode 2 in season 1, which I loved. It was our opening scene where I get to prank a young naive cadet. But that first role was that I auditioned for. I did it via Zoom, and it was just the writing was so good. And I feel like when the writing is good, it makes our job really easy because we can kind of just like dive in there. And I felt really good about it. I had a callback session with our showrunners Henry and Akiva, and we just spoke about everything, about my family background, about me as an actor. I made them laugh. I made them laugh again. That's what I do. And then I booked it, and it was very wild. It was an out-of-body experience, kind of like I'm having right now. And it was just, I think a lot of us have all, like, you know, we all have put in the work as working actors, and to finally like get this role like on the heels of 2020, and to have this amazing fandom that came along with it, this family that you guys have welcomed us into. I mean, it's been just extraordinary. Kind of like what Ethan said, like none of us are super processing it, right? I feel like we're all just kind of enjoying it. But I always prayed that like I'd one day get a role that would make it easy for my mom to tell her church friends what I do. And so now she's really happy. I'm like, all you have to say is Star Trek, and she's like, so it's kind of wonderful. But yeah, but when I got the role, I remember thinking, I was like my whole career, like people have always been like, you know, casting directors have always said you're so specific and you need to keep meeting people. And so I've always auditioned for things, and I've always come down to like, you know, the last two girls, and I'm never enough of anything. And I just remember feeling a very calm, a sense of calm came over me, like before I finally got the call that I got it, where I was like, if they want me, it's gonna be me, you know? Because it was just like, I'm like, what I bring to this, I think, is very specific to kind of my life experiences and what I've been doing in so many different ways. And if they don't want me, then it's not meant for me. And then when they called and they were like, they want you, and I'm like, all right, let's do this. So that's how we're taking it.
They wanted you for sure. Welcome to the family.
Yeah.
Celebrate. All right, let's keep it going. Let's welcome Jess Bush. Welcome, Jess. All right, so you're an Aussie.
Yes.
Tell us about growing up in Australia. We love Australia. So.
Ooh, tell you about growing up in Australia. Everything will kill you. If you don't wear sunscreen, the sun will kill you.
Ozone hole.
What was that? Sorry?
Ozone hole, something
Yes,
like that, right?
just over the whole country probably. And the coffee's great. What else? Good surf.
Favorite cities?
Favorite cities? Oh, they're all pretty good. I haven't been to Darwin, but I've heard Darwin is awesome. Because it's so hot there that everyone's just a little bit crazy.
How about the Whitsundays? Did you ever get to those?
Never been to the Whitsundays.
What's the matter with you? Those are gorgeous.
Yeah, I've heard. I've got to get up
When you
there.
go back, you'll have to go to those.
Yeah, and I also have to see the Great Barrier Reef. I can't believe I haven't been there yet. But
So you did a stint modeling as well, is that true?
Yeah.
How was that?
Well, my
Good
reaction might have given that away. I had some amazing experiences modeling, but long term it wasn't for me, I don't think. It's a tough industry, and there's no union to protect young people, and there's some things that need to change, but there's also so many incredible artists and incredible people within the industry, and my life wouldn't be what it was without those formative experiences. So, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about One Jessa?
Me.
Yeah.
One Jessa.
That's your multimedia platform, right?
So One Jessa is my artist moniker, my visual art moniker. I've been a visual artist since I was a little kid, and that's the name I go by. I painted for 10 years, and when I was about 21, 22, I was fortunate enough to get an acting job that gave me enough money to pause and get myself some space physically and experiment with sculpture. So for the last 5 years, I've been building like interactive kind of immersive installation works.
And some of that stuff looks gorgeous. I've looked at it online. It's really amazing. It's incredible. Okay, so how did your role come about on Star Trek? How did that all happen?
It was wild. I was actually... What's happening? Oh. Sorry. So sorry. Oh, we're good. Okay, thanks, Bruce. How I got it wrong. Okay, so I'd actually, I think it was like 2020, I had a conversation with my managers that I need to take a step back and have a rest. And I spent the working on a major installation work that took me 5 months to build. I got some endorsement from the Australian government and state government to like build this work, bring it to life. And I was getting towards the end of that installation period and was getting ready to have the exhibition and pulling like 14-hour days, standing on a ladder, like just was haggard. And this audition came into my inbox, similar to some of us. It had a fake name. I think my name was Miller. I saw it and I was like, oh, I've got to do this one, don't I? It's like, yeah, I can't really pass this one up. So I finished my 14-hour installation day, and in my art building clothes, my work boots, ran to my friend's house, kind of pushed my hair back, wiped the crap off my face, and put down this tape, and didn't hear anything for maybe 3 weeks. And I thought, and also the link, you have to send it in, right? And you see when it gets downloaded. And it only got downloaded by one of 4 of the emails. I was like, wow, they really didn't like that one. Okay. But yeah, weeks and weeks later, I got a call back and got on the phone with Akiva and Henry and the casting directors, and there was a few more tapes that I needed to do, but it was only one scene that didn't actually make it into the show. It was a really fun one, so that's a bit of a bummer. It was all digital. I didn't know that it was Nurse Chapel until I got the test deal, and it was titled different at the top. I was like, that can't be a typo.
It seems like an excruciating process what you guys have to go through. I mean,
it's hell.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But here you are, it's so
And
great.
here I am, totally worth it.
So, Chapel and Spock, what is going on there? It's awesome. There's something's going down there.
What is going on?
No comment.
You two played so great together. You really did.
Thanks.
What great chemistry.
We have a lot of fun.
Season 2, maybe we'll see a little bit more action, or?
Your guess is as good as mine.
More action.
Yeah. I mean, fighting and all that kind of stuff. Not that action.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Ethan.
And just one last thing. Did you look at all to Majel Barrett's performance in Chapel to give you some inspiration?
Of course, I did, yeah, and it was great. I think that there was a very distinct essence to her Chapel. You know, there's a lot of room for development, but like just her kind of sarcastic, dry nature was just like, so I like pulled that and then kind of like used that to kind of generate what she is now. So.
Well, we love your character, and
Thank
we
you.
love great to have you here with us, Joyce. Thank you. Which brings us to Bruce Horan. Thank you very much. Thank you. Alas, Bruce, I knew Lieutenant Hemmer well. So sad.
So sad.
He's an incredible character with an incredible arc on the show. Now, how did that role come up for you in the first place?
How did it come about? Well, the casting call went out and they were looking specifically for an actor, a visually impaired or blind actor, to play the role of a blind alien, an Enar. And being visually impaired myself, it seemed like the door was open. And being a Star Trek fan, I leapt through. So I did some Zoom auditions, and the scene that I auditioned for was the meeting between Hammer and Uhura, which just everything that's in that scene resonated with me. His curmudgeon sort of crankiness about the wording being used and the assumptions and how everyone always asks the same questions of the visually impaired. And yeah, it just really rang true. In the scene that was written, he was supposed to throw a carrot up in the air and catch it in his mouth, which I can't do. I practiced and practiced. I would get it maybe 1 every 10 times and thought, if I biff this in the audition, then it's going to lose me the part. So what I did instead is an old parlor trick where I actually taught myself to juggle. Because contrary to popular belief, you don't need to have depth perception to juggle. So I had Hammer juggle at the end of the scene instead. That's kind of where it went from there.
I do want to say that Hammer and Uhura's chemistry is so amazing together. You and Celia play so great against each other.
She's pretty fun.
I have to say, Bruce is probably one of the most incredible actors I know.
It's so great.
Such a heart. I'll talk about him forever. I love you.
All right, we're very tight on time. Just one last thing. Yeah. We're going to go to the audience questions now. We're going to start over on that side, so let's go.
Hi, peace and love life. Thank you so much for being here with us. My question is for Mr. Beck. I want to know if you've seen the masterpiece that is Star Trek V. What are your thoughts about it? And
What's the subtitle?
I'm sorry? Oh, the Final Frontier?
I haven't. I have a t-shirt of it too. I'm a total fraud.
Well, my other question was, how do you feel about the possibility of exploring another another relationship with a sibling for your character?
You're referring to Sidewalk?
Yes.
How do I feel about it?
Yeah.
I feel very excited about it, and I hope they do that. Absolutely. It's been teased, I suppose, hasn't it?
It's going to be Ethan with a mustache.
Let's come on this side. Over this side here. We're going from side to side. So over here now on the right.
Oh, wow, I'm nervous now. Okay. Oh, I can hear my voice everywhere. Sorry. All right. So watching Strange New Worlds for me kind of feels like watching the original Star Trek if it wasn't limited by the norms and conventions of the 60s. And my question to you was, do you feel like Strange New Worlds is expanding on some of the themes that the original Star Trek was trying to get across, or do you feel like it's something new and different?
That one's for you, Bruce.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Well, thank you. Well, honestly, I think it's both. I think that the storytelling, the episodic nature of it is very much in line with what the original series was doing. And certainly, when I watched that pilot episode, the first episode, the themes that are in that, this to me just reeked of the humanity and the quest for what is good about the future. And that was at the heart of the original series. What I think it's pushing forward, we're seeing technology, we're seeing the digital effects are just phenomenal. I mean, they gave me new eyes, people. I mean, this was incredible. And so for me, it's a mixture of both. And I think it's, honestly, I can't wait to see the second season. How about you guys?
Okay, let's take it back over here.
Hello. You all have brought so much joy to this world, so much so that there's people out in this room who thought it would be so much fun to dress up as your characters. And I was wondering, is there any prosthetic for an alien that you have just been wanting to jump into, even if your character didn't play that alien?
I want Hammer's antennas bad.
Just the antennas.
Pretty fun.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Back over here.
My question is, for those of you that were on Discovery, was that a different experience from being on Strange New Worlds? Because it's a less episode, it's a more serial, more intense show than Strange New Worlds. So how are the experiences different?
Yeah, I mean, very similar experiences in the sense that a lot of the same crew and creatives, so we had built-in relationships, creative relationships that helped us get started, much smoother than most shows start. And the day-to-day is the same, very similar, different sets. But yes, the episodic structure of it has allowed us, and this is really, like even Henry, pushing the envelope as much as possible, really getting to play more. And Kiva's mantra, he keeps saying on set, Star Trek can be a lot of things. Star Trek can be anything. So yeah, I really enjoyed the hell out of that.
Yeah, so did I, to be honest, when they brought me on, I thought it was a one-off. I thought I was being brought on for one episode of Discovery, and they put what I consider to be the most tragic wig on my head, and I didn't say anything because I just thought I was going to be there for a day. I was like, whatever, it's one day out of my life, I'll wear an ugly wig. And then we fixed the hair for the series. I never thought I was going to go past that one day, to be honest. But
I'll never forget walking the makeup trailer after you get the new wig going,
we fixed it.
Okay, back over there.
This question is for Rebecca. In the episode Spock and Monk, you and La'an play Enterprise Bingo. Were there any additional scenes of you and La'an playing Enterprise Bingo which didn't make the final cut? And
Yes, there was one thing in the script that got cut, I think for budget reasons, that we loved. loved. It was so funny. We were in gravity boots upside down, and it was a competition to see who could stay upside down the longest while wearing gravity boots. And I think for budgetary reasons they had to cut it, but that to me was the funniest one out of all of them.
Okay, back over to here. Are you done here? Okay, we have one more over there. I think this is our last one. All right, we're done. Okay, they're cutting us off. Folks, please join me in thanking these guys for being with us. Nancy, Rebecca, Ethan, Sonia, Melissa, Jesse, Bruce.